Get a £5 free bet every week with Offer Club from William Hill. Simply stake a total of £20 or more across the week on pre-match football accumulators with 4 or more selections, and you'll get a £5 free bet on the Friday. Join William Hill Offer Club on mobile or online now.
This is Cooking Cassis for iFull TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella at the BT Tower for the formal announcement of BT Sport and Box Nation's partnership. With me I've got Frank Warren. It's a new era for boxing, Frank.
It certainly is, look. A new era for boxing. That's why we're here.
It's taken a while, obviously. Listening to your press conference there, almost a year to get to this point now.
And
the rest. But obviously a successful time period in getting this done.
Yeah. It's been a hard slog. It's not a year, it's taken us 5 years. You know, when I walked away from Sky and I had a contract with them, and I was, had enough, when they were showing, when I was worried then about, where it was going, boxing, the fact that they were talking about bailing out of boxing and cutting back, and decided to do my own thing. From that day on, it's been tough, and we've, on the way, people have benefited from that. Matchroom benefited. A year later, I believe they got rid of unfairly Ricky Hatton and Maloney, and then they got the contracts at Matchroom, and they benefited having that budget to work with. So now it's changed. We've worked very hard, developed some champions over the years. We've had a channel which obviously doesn't have the exposure that Sky has, but now it's got bigger exposure than anybody. We've got potential, a bigger potential reach than anybody.
Where would you have put the current state of Box Nation without the backing of BT Sport, Frank?
It's tough. It's where it was, wasn't it? It's tough. It's a 24/7 channel, but it's a specialist channel. Now it's a specialist channel that's on a massive platform, and it's got. The one thing's always been said when I talk to boxers, even when going back to Joshua, the one thing was they were all worried about their exposure, and that may have been the telling point of somebody coming with us or not. That's a dead duck now. That's a dead issue. Financially, we'll do better, and as far as exposure is concerned, if you want the most exposure, you've got to come with us.
These 20 shows that are going to be broadcast across the two channels, BT Sport and Box Nation. Do you believe that your current stable is sufficient enough to fulfil those 20 shows?
We're looking for, it's not 20, it's 30 shows, live shows we'll be doing. Of course we'll be, but I mean, 1 year on ITV I've done 45 shows in 1 year once, many years ago. I'm used to doing that. We've got a good staff, we've got good infrastructure, and that's a no-brainer for me. That's a no-brainer to be putting shows. We've got to make sure they're quality, and I'm sure there'll be other boxers that are, and there have been boxers who've been phoning us over the weekend, so it's going to be an interesting time.
You said earlier about profile, which again is very important to boxers, that whole stigma of the Sky profile, but you're in a position now where it will be as good or if not better.
Well, it's better, it's bigger. I mean, they've got 18 million customers on EE, who there will be an app for watching the boxing. So that's just on the telephone, that's without the BT television channels. So it's a no-brainer.
Do you think you maybe have a situation where fighters come over from Sky or wherever because of...
We're in the boxing business. Boxers go from here to there. There's nothing unusual. That's how boxing's always been. I remember Barry Hearn years ago got into boxing after I remember when I got shot, and he got into boxing and he banged the drum or whatever, but within a short period of time, every single fighter came to me, came back. They all came back across the street, all of them, to a man. So who knows what's going to happen? But I'm not, boxing's about the future. We've got great youngsters that are coming through, and they'll get more exposure now, and they'll get more, remember, where you're putting a guy out, say, 4 times a year, he can have more fights now. We've got the platform to do that. We can deliver more fights, get more experience, bring them through quickly. That's where we're at, that's what we're doing. The early days of ITV, I used to have the Saturday afternoon shows, the Wednesday night shows, the Saturday night shows. Seconds Out, and Fight Night. All those boxing things. I could give a guy like, I think Nigel Benn had around 10, 12 fights in his first year. He was able to do that. We're back to that now. We can deliver that. So they're picking up their experience. They're in the gym. They're learning their craft, and they can come through. So I'm absolutely delighted where we are, and we have pay-per-view capability as well. So when it gets to the big fights, we won't see them going across the road. We can deliver that.
So that's my next question. I did speak to George a little bit about this, but the pay-per-view element, that is separate to these 30 shows,
Completely.
So, example, if we ever see a Saunders Golovkin type fight event, that would be under your pay-per-view.
Could be, yes.
The international content you bring in stays on Box Nation.
Exactly as it's always been. For all the top promoters in the world, we deliver in the top fights. But the difference is this time, where we invested so much money and time in Mayweather and also Pacquiao, and when the big fight came, they went to pay-per-view on Sky. We will be able to deliver that now. We'll be able to deliver them the capability to maximise their earnings, so we can do that now.
It's in the press conference there that you're looking to start early part of next year, possibly not January, maybe into February.
Well, we're looking at the dates now, so we should be in a position in the next 2 weeks to announce that.
You've described this as the biggest deal that you've certainly been involved with, and possibly in boxing full stop.
It is. I know it is. I know with what we have and with the budget we got, it is the biggest deal in boxing in Europe.
So, anything else you want to add about this, Frank?
I'm absolutely delighted with it. As I say, it's great for all of us. It's great for and most importantly, like I keep saying, it's great for the fans. The fans are going to get some really good shows, and they've got a choice. They've got a choice where they spend their money. They've got a choice, and we're very conscious of what we do has to be there for the fans' benefits. That's the business we're in. And the business of fans who are the subscribers or people who buy tickets to see a show, they're the ones that count, and that's where we're at. I want to be fan friendly.
Obviously, with your boxing shows as well being promoted across the BT channels, across the football, the UFC, it's
keep going.
a lot of and the rest of the other sports. I'm talking about the sports that I watch on BT, but it's huge because BT have been involved in football, the Champions League, etc.
Well, they've come in, haven't they? You think what they've done in the last 3 years or so, whatever it is, they've come in, they've got Champions League, they've got a chunk of the Premier League, they've got, as you say, UFC, cricket, they've got plenty of things going on, and now they're in boxing. They're serious broadcasters. As George said, they're one of the biggest multimedia companies, or if not the biggest multimedia company in the country. So we're there, and what we set out to do, we've got to that stage now. Now we've got to take it on from there and make it bigger and better. A bit of fun on the way, a bit of competition, a bit of arse kicking. Looking forward to it.
It's definitely great for the sport. It's great for British boxing, and it's livened up the broadcasting situation.
We always, as I said, you have in this business you have to be innovative. You can't just rely on the whims of who's ever in charge or an accountant at a TV channel to just put a red line through your sport, which is what effectively at one stage Sky did. So that's why we became in control of our own destiny. Now destiny has led us to where we are now, and I think now for a little pimple on a rhinoceros's arse of a channel, Box Nation as it started out, that you won't last a couple of weeks or 6 weeks. 5 years on, we've just announced the biggest deal in boxing. So I think we've indicated our belief and our hard work and our endeavours to our loyal subscribers and to the boxers that work with us and the boxers that will come and work with us.
As George pointed out earlier on, do nothing yet because obviously this isn't going to take effect until the early part of next year. So
which will fly by.
obviously we're a few weeks away from Christmas.
Yeah. So we got an early Christmas present.
Early Christmas present indeed. All right, Frank. Well, listen,
Cheers,
thank,
my son.
thank you very much for talking to
Thank you.
IFL TV. I've just asked your opinion. Did you watch the boxing on the weekend?
I did.
I'd like to know. What did you think?
I did. It took me back to the 80s when I was promoting shows in Monte Carlo for ITV. We'd done a few shows out there. Actually, better fights than I see the weekend, by the way. I thought it was a bit of a snore fest except for Stephen Smith's fight. What do I think of it? It's great, you know, it's great. The only problem you've got in Monte Carlo is, or Monaco, is that you never get any atmosphere. There's no atmosphere. It is what it is. You know, you take it into an environment where really they are not real big, enthusiastic boxing fans as they would be in the UK or in France, you know, just across the border. So yeah, it was good. It's great. I like to see boxing on everywhere, but show was what it was. I'll tell you what, I don't know why any heavyweight should be worried about Ortiz watching that, would you? I've got a sponsor for it though, for him. Horlicks.
Frank, we've got a show, 2 shows coming up in a couple of weeks' time. One Brentwood Leisure Centre, one in Cardiff. Obviously, 2 world title fights, 2 British title fights in there. The show in Cardiff, your last show of the year was?
It's the last big show of the year. But we'll say last big show. It's our last big show of the year. Box Nation obviously got a few other British shows. One up in Scotland, Paul Butler's on it, and Jack Catterall's on it. So that's on, and then we kick off again in the new year with to the new era, as we call it, the new era in boxing.
All right, Frank. Listen, thanks for talking to IFL TV. We'll catch up with you soon.
I hope so.